right, we're live. Give some folks a few minutes to join us to make sure all of you guys are able to get this information at the same time. Give y'all a few minutes to come on. Hi, Chris. Hey, Timothy. Yes, teamwork. Trying to find us our spaces. He's going to take it off.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Porch Politics. You guys know me. I am Tequila Johnson, the co-founder and co-executive director of the Equity Alliance. And today I have our communications director. I'll let her introduce herself, filling in for Charlene. As you guys know, Charlene has taken a leave of absence. She is running for state senate. So check out Charlene, see everything she has going on. And for now, the time being, Jess, our communications director, is stepping in.
Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. We got two screens going on over here. We got Instagram over here. We have Facebook here, Facebook and Twitter and all the things here. Williams, the communications director with the Equity Alliance. Like Tequila said, I'm super excited to make sure that I bring y'all all of this information the way that you need it, real, raw, and the way that you're used to tea, bringing you the tea. We're going to continue to do that. So I'll let Tequila take it away. We got Miss Virginia and Van Turner later on in the hour. But yes.
So today we are bringing back Porch Politics, you guys, as I said earlier. And today we have a special broadcast. We are bringing Miss Virginia Rivers, who is the vice mayor for Mason, Tennessee. You guys, if you're following us and if you have been following us, you know that we've been very engaged in what's happening in Mason, Tennessee. Mason is a small town right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. It is a predominantly Black town that has predominantly Black leadership. About months ago, the comptroller of the state, Jason Mumford, sent letters to the 1600 residents of Mason, letting them know that they wanted to take over, they being the state, their city's charter. And what does that mean for the Black, predominantly Democratic city of Mason, Tennessee? It means that they would be under a majority Republican leadership and that their leaders in the city would not have any physical control over what happens in the city, right? So what would that mean for a city like Nashville? That would mean that we would need to check in with the state if we wanted to put gas in the fire trucks. I mean, everything that happens in this city would have gone through the state. So we got to action, we being the Equity Alliance. We put boots on the ground. We worked with the city leaders and asked them, what do you need? Do you need our help? And if so, what would you like us to do? They asked us to come in and to continue to amplify what was happening in Mason, Tennessee. So as you guys may have read in the news, shout out to the for following this story and making sure that they keep it in print. Mason, Tennessee leaders have reached an agreement with Jason Mumford and the state of Tennessee. And so we have Miss Virginia Rivers, who's going to jump in a second to talk all about what's going on in Mason, because we don't want this story to die just because they reached an agreement. We want to make sure that supporting the city of Mason to help them do whatever they need to do to honor that agreement. And we also want to make sure that we are holding the state accountable so that they will give Mason the control of their city once they have fulfilled whatever their contractual agreement was. So without further ado, we're going to get this rolling. Stay on to the end. We are going to provide some updates on what's happening with the Equity Alliance, because we got a lot of amazing things that we want you guys to plug into. But for now, let's get this conversation rolling. Let's bring Miss Virginia Rivers on so that we can talk about what's happening in Mason, Tennessee.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be
Hi, Miss
here.
Virginia. How are you?
I'm fine.
I
How
am
are
so
you?
blessed. I'm
Good.
wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for working in collaboration with us as we, came to Mason to support you, your leadership, and the residents of Mason, Tennessee, to make sure that the state is doing right by you guys. We are grateful to have your collaboration in that. And also just thank you for your consistency and persistence with this issue in Mason. You have been on it. And if it were not for you raising your voice and letting it be known what was going on, I'm not sure the rest of the state would have even been aware of what was happening in Mason. So, Jess, let's get this rolling. Tell us, Miss Virginia, we saw what happened, but for the people who don't know what happened in Mason, can you give us a quick overview of just how we got to this point?
Well, to be quick about it and give you a quick update was on February the 8th, of course, Jason Munpower and his team came in and told Mason that they had to give up their charter or they were going to take over our finances. With that being said, we let them know we were not going to give up our charter. He told us that we could keep our addresses and we could have parades if we like. And in process of that, I stood and told him that I will fight for the charter of Mason and I will fight for the citizens of Mason. With that being said, from that is where everything went later. My power, when he realized the mayor and the board of aldermen had voted to make sure our charter would not be given up. He sent letters out to the constituents to let them know that he felt that he wanted them to cause their leaders to give up the charter. He wanted to encourage them, should I say, in the letter that they should get their leaders to give up the charter because he felt that was in the best interest of the town. Of course, after that, later on, there was a letter, an agreement that it wasn't an agreement, it was a corrective action plan that they sent to the town of Mason, demanding that we pay $22,000 a month up front before any bills was paid. We had to ask them for permission for $100 before we could pay any bills that was over $100. We weren't allowed to even apply for grants. With that being said, also they stated in the letter that we owed almost $600,000 in money to the waterway system. Well, they never talked to us. They never even asked to come in and have a conversation with us. So, with that being said, the mayor and I reached out to the comptroller with a letter asking him to meet with us, which he called. And when he called, it was I myself who talked to him, and we did schedule the meeting. In the meeting, when we went to the meeting, it was the mayor, our finance team, our attorney Clay, and myself was at the meeting. Our point of the meeting was to point out to them that the figures that they had shown the public were not the figures that was correct. They were showing the public that it was $597,000 that was owed to the waterways fund. But we showed them that it was $480 that were owed, which we also proved to them that we had been paying that debt down all along. If they had asked us or talked to us, we'd have never went where the situation wouldn't have gotten like it did. But it did because he just walked in and wanted to run over Mason. He just thought we was going to roll over at his demand and give him our town, which was not going to happen. So, and then he also, once we showed them the numbers and he saw that we had been paying, because we had the proof showing that we had been paying the note down, he said that he would send his auditors in and have them that Friday to look at the numbers. If the numbers were correct and prove that that's what we had been doing, then he would redo the corrective action plan. Of course, they came, the correction act, the numbers was right. They went back. He sent another corrective action plan that said that he wanted us to pay 9,000 and some dollars before we um, pay any bills. We couldn't pay any bills till that particular amount was paid. Also, he didn't change anything else. The $100 was still in effect. We couldn't pay anything over $100. We couldn't apply for grants. All that still was in effect. Well, by then, our attorney Clay, along with the NAACP, who stepped in, Attorney Van Turner, who came aboard, and they filed a lawsuit against the state and for a TRO, which is a temporary restraining order. Of course, the judge denied the temporary restraining order. So at that time, we were already in negotiation with the comptrollers, trying to negotiate a better corrective action plan to be able that Mason may be able to progress. It went through several negotiation back and forth until we came to one that we are in right now. And in that negotiation plan, it came down. Our note now is $5,100 that we have to pay up front, still before we pay any bills. They raised it from $100 to $1,000. That we have to get permission for anything over $1,000. They dropped out the having to get permission for them to apply for grants. They took that out. And so, with that being said, this was the options or the corrective action plan they was willing to um, agree with, provided that Mason would drop the lawsuit against them, provided the mayor would sign a dismissal of the lawsuit against the comptroller. Of course, if we refused to sign, if we did not sign the agreement to drop the lawsuit, or the plan that I just stated to you would not be in effect. It would have went back to what it was in the beginning. That's where we were. It was kind of like between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. But at the same time, the mayor met with the board of aldermen, and we discussed it and made a decision to accept the agreement. It's not one that I'm favorable of. It's not one that I like or one I totally agree with. But at the moment in time, that was better than what we were. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to our Attorney Clay. I'm thankful to Attorney Van Turner for their effort, the NAACP for what they have done to get us to this point. So right now we are under that corrective action plan at the moment. We also have to, hopefully by August the 31st, if we have we got to have our 2021 audit in, which we only really want and we went behind because they got the audit. Our 2020 audit, they had been ATA, which is the audit team. They had that our 2020 audit for over a year. We just got that audit back this week. So now 2021 is in. We're hoping that they will go ahead and finish it so we can proceed with our 2022, because we have to have our 2023 done and approved by August the 31st. If that be the case and we can't complete this, then the comptrollers have agreed to loosen or to let go of control of our finances. Of course, we still have the debt that we've always been paying on, that we will continue to pay on. But that's where we are right now.
Wow, that's a lot of back and forth with the state. Before we talk any more about that, I just want to check in with you. How are you feeling? And not just about this, but just in general. I want to make sure that you feel okay and that you are feel like you have people to support you. Are you taking care of yourself? Because that is a lot to deal with.
It's a lot to deal with, but I thank God for giving me the strength, because if it hadn't been for Him, I know that I wouldn't have been able to do what has happened or occurred. So I give that credit to my master. So with that being said, I'm okay. Um, um, I just take it one day at a time and try to do the best that we can, try to move our town forward, because I'm a believer that we're going to succeed. I believe we're going to win. And as far as having support, I know there are people that do support. There's some I don't even know about that support, I'm sure. But I have sense enough to know there are people who don't support. There are people who don't even agree. But I don't allow the people that are negative or don't agree to affect me or to bother me, because people are going to talk regardless. And that's okay. Life goes on. And I have a mission that I'm trying to accomplish, and that is to get our town, Mason, Tennessee, to where it can be not under the will not be under the control of the comptroller. It will be free and be able to receive the finances, the money that is coming down the line. That we'll be able to um, uh, improve our infrastructure, our waterway system, and we'll improve economically. People can begin to move in, business will come in. I'm just looking forward in another 2 years. I know that in 5 years, Ford will be opening for business in 2025. Well, that ain't 5 years, but you in 2025. But I'm looking for Mason to be a city all by itself. And we can be that city if we stick together, if we will join forces and not allow outside people to come in our city and rule over us or take over us and tell us we can't make it without them. Those days are over. We can do anything as long as God is on our side.
Amen to that, Miss Virginia. Amen. And I'm glad to hear that you are in good spirit and you are in good faith, because to me, that is what's most important, is making sure that our Black leaders, especially our Black women leaders, know that they have support and that they feel uplifted. We do want to ask, people are asking, well, the first thing is, how did the debt occur? Like, where did the debt come from?
It came from way before 2016, when the first Black leaders took over the town. It came from way back then, over 20 years ago, when the town was led by white leaders who went down with almost $1 million out of the town. One man even admit to taking $600,000. He was never made to pay it back, nor did he serve any time for it. There was another lady, a white lady, who also had taken money from the town, who never served time. Not even she didn't even go to court. But there was this Black lady who was the only one who went to trial and was convicted, and she had to serve time as well as pay restitution to the town of Mason. So it was years and years and years of mismanagement of the funds, and it was ran all those years by um, uh, the white leaders before 2016, when Black leaders came in the picture, and the mayor at that time, who was a white man, got up and walked out of the meeting and just walked off. So and that's when our first African American female became the mayor of Mason. Miss Kilpatrick.
Wow.
So the way it is now, all the comptrollers are doing whatever documents they send out, whoever they send documents to, they don't tell them anything past 2016. They start with 2016 because that's when African Americans took over.
Wow.
And there's no coincidence that the only person who actually did jail time for this or even got reprimanded for this was a Black woman.
Wow. Wow, that is, I mean, that's a lot. That is crazy. One, to see that this town, Mason, Tennessee, was ran by white people, majority white people, and they ran the town down. And now you have Black leaders who step up when the town is in shambles and in debt and say, let's get this together. And then now that I'm assuming Ford plant is moving to West Tennessee, the state wants to come in and try to pick off whatever small towns they can. That's just not right. Someone asked the question, what is the monthly payments going towards? So when you guys pay that, I think you said it was reduced from 9,000 to 4,000 or 5,000.
It was reduced to $5,100 a month. The water goes towards our water waste fund. That's where the problem was. That's where the money was taken from. And I also need to state that, and I want to make it clear that people understand that Mason was fine when there nobody said anything about the money that was taken, the $600,000 a man even admitted to. Nothing is said about that. Mason was flowing all these years till Ford came to Haywood County, which is 4.5 miles from Mason. Well, Mason stands a chance of growing as well as receiving money that's coming down the line. And they knew this, but they felt that we were not the ones they wanted to see in control of that money. Power made that very clear when he made the statement in his paper and said that he felt that we were ill capable or irresponsible of handling the finances of the town. But you felt okay as long as your people were in there taking the money. So now he wants to make those statements. And when he made the statement, yes, I will admit it did offend me because I felt you were attacking my character, my integrity, and who I am. Because for you to use the term ill, that's like you might as well have said you felt we were ignorant or we were stupid, couldn't handle the finances. But we've been taking care of it all along, and we show proof of that. But you don't hear him talk about that. You never once heard him mention that the people in Mason did prove to him they had been paying their debt. You never heard that. You never heard him say that we came up there and, of course, he took that little picture that he wanted to take with the mayor and myself so he can showcase that like it was things was okay, but they weren't okay. He just wanted the people to see that. But you never once said anything about the meeting as far as what we did, what we showed him, the numbers we showed him, the proof we gave him that we were not what he posted out there was wrong. He never even came back and apologized and said, I made a mistake. They are not here, they are here. No, he didn't do that. He continued the charade that he was putting on for people and our constituents to look at us and say that we were bad for Mason. That's what he wanted them to see. And that's what he tried to show them.
It seems like there was a big perception versus reality issue here.
Yeah. It really, you can really tell that this was bigger than just you know, this being about them trying to look out for the financial well-being of Mason. Because someone raised this point in the chat, and this is a great point. The state could write that off. If we're giving Ford $1 billion to come to Tennessee, we should be able to give Mason the money that is needed to put them in good financial standing and make sure that that town is able to benefit from the resources and the economic development that is happening in that area. We have Attorney Van Turner, attorney, president of the Memphis chapter of the NAACP, who's been very intricate in this whole Mason, Tennessee thing, joining us as well. So we do want to hear from him. Miss Virginia, is there anything else that we need to know that transpired leading up to the state stepping in that the people need to know and be aware of?
Well, I will say this is that as far as the comptrollers coming in or trying to take over, they had another plan. They really was after Mason waterway system. That's what they were after all along from the very beginning. That's why they wanted us to give up the charter. I have to make that clear. That's the purpose. That's the first thing he said to us is to give up your charter. Because if we had given up our charter, they had already planned to take over Mason because they wanted the county mayor, Jeff Huffman, to come in and take over Mason, and we become part of the county. We would no longer have any say-so in our county. We would no longer have anything. So the thing was, he even let us know at the meeting, I just had lunch with Jeff Huffman, your county mayor. And then he breaks out with the statement, give up your charter. So with that being said, I just want people to understand that it wasn't about the finances. Because if it had been about the finances, they'd have been there a long time ago when the money came missing under the other administration. It was about the fact that Jeff Huffman wants our waterway system. And now he can't get it because we stood our ground.
I know that's right.
We're glad you did.
We are glad you did. And again, anything you need, Miss Virginia, we are here for you. If you need any boots on the ground, if you need any fire under seats, you call the Equity Alliance and we will galvanize the troops. We will do whatever we can to protect, not only just protect Mason, but to make sure that you feel uplifted and protected and supported as a leader. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And again, I just can't say this enough. You are not in this by yourself. You have other Black women and other Black leaders that are here for you.
Thank you.
What's up, Van? How are you? Welcome to the Porch Politics.
How you doing? How you doing, Madam Vice Mayor and Miss Johnson?
How are you?
All right. Mm-hmm.
We doing good. We doing well, Van. So good to see you.
I just want to set the level for our folks over here on Instagram. If you guys, just for a second, Van. So thank y'all. There's some new people that have joined us. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. We're talking to Vice Mayor Virginia Rivers from Mason, Tennessee, and also Memphis NAACP President Van Turner, Attorney Van Turner, about they're giving us an update on everything that's happening right now in in Mason. For the last few minutes, Vice Mayor Virginia Rivers has been talking to us and giving us an update about everything that happened from beginning to end and where we are now. So we're going to hear from Van Turner, and he's going to give us the legal perspective and update about everything.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. There's a little bit of lag time, so it might sound like we're interrupting one another, but we're not.
Okay. Well, it's good to be here on your program, and we appreciate Equity Alliance, and I love the title, Porch and Politics. It's real good. Back in the day, my mother used to sit out on the porch with the neighbors, and they used to swat all the mosquitoes and drink their lemonade. I think it was lemonade. I hope it was lemonade and wasn't nothing else in that cup. Yeah, I love the title, Porch and Politics. So very quickly, when it comes down to it, it's a tale of two cities, one Jellicoe and one Mason. And the vice mayor may have mentioned this, but one of the things that we argued in our briefing to the court was that Jellicoe was similar situated, yet it was all white and had white leadership, and they were not asked to give up the charter, although they had much more significant financial issues than Mason. Yet Mason, which was black majority and black leadership, they were asked to give up the charter. And in fact, when they put forth a corrective action plan, it was more along the lines of a punitive action plan, given all the things that had to be done. And so when the town refused to give up the charter, and I want to give a shout out to State President Gloria Sweetlove, State President for the NAACP. She was at the meeting that night and encouraged the town not to give up the charter. When that occurred, they put forth an action plan that was really unreasonable. I mean, you're talking about, monthly payments, which were unreasonable, 20,000. You're talking about a weekly schedule to have to submit reports. And, the chief financial officer for the town was a part-timer. You're talking about having to ask to spend, anything over $100. And so that's just it was really an affront. It was really an affront to the leadership in that town to say they had to go ask the comptroller and the state of Tennessee permission to spend anything over $100 from its general fund. We're not even talking about the water sewer fund that was in contention. We're talking about the main operating fund, and keep in mind that there are two separate funds we're dealing with. And so, it was really an affront to black leadership. It was an affront to this African-American majority town. And it was a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the Tennessee Constitution. And that's what we argued. So although on April 6th, when we argued the case, and on April 14th, when we got the ruling, Chancellor Martin said, I'm not going to grant you the TRO, which was a restraining order to stop the punitive action plan. She did say that she would be willing to entertain discovery on our equal protection claim, which is, I think, one of the reasons we really expedited the mediation. And so to just give you the quick facts on the outcome of the settlement, that big payment that they were asking for at the beginning was reduced down to $5,000 a month, which can be paid over 4 years. The $100 expenditure cap was lifted up to $1,000. The weekly report obligation was taken out to a monthly obligation. And the plan, instead of going for 2 years, or the length of the time that they were asking to pay back to $250,000 to the water sewer fund, it ends at the end of August once this year's budget is put in and once the audit is put in. And so we reduced that time from 2 years down to just about 4 months of having a plan in the first place. So this was a victory for the town of Mason. So appreciative to the NAACP, President Derrick Johnson, and the Office of General Counsel for the NAACP. And I think the one that brought us together was State President Gloria Sweetlove. So we thank her as well.
Wow. So then with all of the new developments that have happened, what do you think the biggest threat is to the city of Mason right now?
It really, it has to accommodate its success. I mean, it has to make room for all of the growth and the capacity is going to be asked to provide to be, next to the Blue Oval Project. I was in Atlanta before the Olympics. I attended Morehouse. And so there's a pre-Olympics and there's a post-Olympics Atlanta, 1996. And the growth and the infrastructure issues really were exacerbated after the Olympics. And so what is about to happen in the town of Mason is about to boom. All those West Tennessee towns, which are represented by Black leadership. We're talking Galloway. We're talking Brownsville. It's about to boom, and they're going to have to grow quick with the infrastructure needs. The water sewer lagoon is going to probably have to be expanded to take on the capacity of dealing with the Blue Oval Project, as well as all those going to be probably moving into Mason and all the growth that Mason is about to experience. And so I think that would be a challenge. And so, but Vice Mayor Rivers and Mayor Gooden and Reva Marshall, the finance director, I think they're well able and capable of handling what's before the town of Mason. And I have full faith that the town will be able to do it with the assistance of wonderful groups such as the Equity Alliance, and the NAACP is not going far. We'll be there for whatever the needs are for the town. And I think us coming together will be able to really do what we can to make sure that Mason is able to facilitate this growth and is able to really take advantage of this great opportunity.
You hear that now? Everybody hear that. If you have any land, if your grandmama, your uncle, your auntie has any land in West Tennessee, don't you sell grandmama's house in West Tennessee, because things are about to boom. There's majority Black leadership, and we need to keep it Black owned. It's the time for white people coming in when the economics develop and taking over and being able to benefit off of the labor and the land that Black people have left needs to stop now. This is a great opportunity for Black people to be their own developers, put Black businesses in place, Black home ownership, Black landlords, Black developers. We need to take advantage of that. And so you already see what happened in Mason was a hostile takeover. That was the state coming in with darn near bulldozers saying, get out of the way. You're not capable. We got it from here. The money's coming. It's time for white people to come in and manage the money. Y'all have done y'all's part. We cannot let that happen. Not to Mason, not to any small town out there, not to nowhere, not
to Brownsville,
none of that. And the only way we can stop it is if we stick together and work together. We can't have one or two people playing both sides. We got to stick together on this.
I agree.
I do too.
So there's some folks on Facebook. If you guys have some questions for Van Turner or for Vice Mayor Rivers, if you guys could just drop those in the chat for us. I see y'all are engaging, and we appreciate y'all for engaging with us. Thank you. Again, I see some of the folks. Thank you, Vice Mayor. A whole lot of thank yous.
Thank you, NAACP.
Thank you, NAACP.
Now, I do want to know this. A lot of people are reaching out and saying, what can we do to support the town of Mason? I've even had people saying, can we raise the money to pay off the debt for the town of Mason? What can people do?
Yeah, the mayor, vice mayor can speak to it. There is a debt that still needs to be paid. And keep in mind, Mason owes itself. Mason doesn't owe the state of Tennessee. Basically, what happened is that money was taken out of the water sewer fund and it's just been put back in the water sewer fund. And the reason that the money had to be taken out the water sewer fund and we have this deficit is that Caucasian mayor 10 years ago started all of this mess by, stealing $1 million. And the vice mayor can speak to that. I think he eventually committed suicide, but since that time, it's really been a catch-up process. So, I think any assistance with retiring that debt is good. And if there are those who are in plan development, those who are in city planning, those who are in construction, infrastructure work, those who are in the finance, I think all of that is going to be needed as Mason begins to grow. And, I've stated this, and the vice mayor will probably agree. You're not going to recognize Mason 10 years from now. It's going to be a totally new place. In Memphis, we have these little small suburbs. And when I was growing up, you really had no reason to even think about Arlington or Lakeland or, really even Millington. The larger suburbs were there at Bartlett, Collierville, and Germantown. But these smaller suburbs, you didn't even think about them. Now that's about to boom too. Arlington, Lakeland, booming. Millington is getting, new growth. So I can see the same thing happening for Mason. I think the vice mayor wanted to say something too.
Well, I agree with the attorney, Van, because I stated earlier, I'm looking for Mason to be a city all by itself. I'm looking for it to prosper and to grow and take pictures now, because 2 or 3 years from now, we won't look like we look now. It's going to be beautiful. We are going to grow. I just got faith it's gonna happen, and hopefully I'll be able to come back on and tell y'all we did it. That's the good part about it. But I also want to say, as far as people helping us again, it most of everybody that asks, I normally tell them if they want to donate, we appreciate any donation. If the money's raised for the city, that is great as well. Just whatever you do, if you make a check to the town of Mason, you need to that check needs to say to the town of Mason. In the memo, it needs to state donation for debt. It has to say donation. Also, it can be sent to the address of Mason, uh, 12157 Main Street, Mason, Tennessee, 38049. We do have a GoFundMe out there that you can donate to if you like. Most people prefer to send a check, so that's why I always tell them how to send it. But we need your prayers. And Equity Alliance, I want to say thank you because you guys came out and y'all did put boots on the ground. We did go around to people's houses and knocking, trying to explain to them what was going on. I appreciate that. I also want to say shout out to NAACP, Miss Gloria Sweet Love, because that lady came to our meeting and stood tall, meant what she said. She said it, and she didn't just say it. She even showed up in Mason again with with the NAAC from everywhere, and we had an awesome time. They stood strong behind us to support because that shows you when you got people that are trying to uh, do accomplish something, and you got people that are really standing behind. They give you that extra inch to want to go on. It makes you want to give you that extra energy that you need. And I definitely want to, definitely without a doubt, I do not want to leave out our attorney Clay, and attorney Van Turner, because they were on it. Van, if I ever need you, you'll know I'm on the call you.
Mhm.
But I thank him for what he's done because they NAACP has done a great job, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. I hate to call name because I may miss somebody. So let me just say this: I am truly grateful from my heart on behalf of the mayor and the aldermen of Mason. We and the citizen of Mason. We are grateful to everybody that has reached out and tried to help Mason, those that are standing beside Mason even now and will continue to stand beside us. I just want to say thank you.
Amen. So there is someone from the comptroller's office who has jumped on the Facebook Live and is commenting. I believe his name is John Don. And I will tell you guys what he said, but we want to know if do we want to invite him to be a part of the call. One of the other things I want to point out is someone said there's not one black auditor in the comptroller's office. And that's a problem. When Tennessee's 17, 18% black, their representation should be in every state office. And John said Mason owed its water and sewer fund approximately $150,000 in 2016. By the end of fiscal year 2019, they owed its water and sewer fund approximately $650,000 according to its audits. It's important to understand all perspectives.
Okay. And he's right. He's right, it is. But did he tell you how it got to 160 some $1,000 before the 2016? Who took the money? No, they don't tell you that. They just want to tell you, point out what happened starting 2016. That money was missing before 2016, Mr. John. So just if you're gonna tell it, tell the truth. Make it clear where the money came up missing. Don't make it look like it started in 2016 when the black administration took over. You and I both know, Mr. John, that it was way before then, over 20 years ago. So don't act like it's just now started happening. Be honest. It only came in this money not being where it's supposed to be only became important because the Ford company moved in and took and won and brought this town this blew over to the town 4 miles from us. Money coming down the line, and you just didn't want us to have it. Just be honest.
Well, John, you heard that. I don't know if you're still there. We're looking, waiting on you to comment more. But you need to go to the comptroller and tell him he needs to diversify his office, number one. If you're going to be coming and trying to have relationships like people, then there at least at minimum needs to be some Black representation in your office. That is a problem for you to have a completely white office in a state that is 17% Black. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, you heard what our sister Virginia Rivers said. You cannot, we know that audits, when we go back over time, may not have been presented at first. And so what it looks like is once the audits found it and once they went through the finances, more and more theft was revealed and that was presented. So people are saying they want to raise money, they want to bring development opportunities in. He is the PIO for the comptroller's office. Thank you, Monica. The PIO for the comptroller's office. John Dunn. We don't know where John went. He popped up and then he popped out. So hey, there it is. But people are saying they want to come in and they want to do things. Miss Virginia, what we're going to do at the Equity Alliance is we're going to get our organizers to keep a running list of all the people that want to do fundraisers and things like that, and we will hand that over directly to you. We'll make sure to send out the link to the GoFundMe, and I will have Jessica or Danny follow up with you to get the address for people who want to write checks, and we will put that in our newsletter to make sure that the people who are on here saying they want to raise money, they want to help, they have an opportunity to give and support Mason, Tennessee, y'all.
Thank you.
I'm trying to stop on the lag time. But is there anything else that you guys want to touch on before we get off the call? Looks like John hopped off. John, if you still there, don't hide. Come on out, John. We all family.
Well, again, I just want to thank y'all again for having us on. And I didn't mention Attorney Terry Clayton, and he was pivotal as well. He was there early on when the town was asked to give up its charter. And, we just came in to support him in his effort as the town's attorney to make sure that they had all that they needed to properly be represented in court. Now, what we have is a legal settlement. And I think it was good that we were able to settle. And what happens in a settlement is you don't get everything you want and the parties compromise. And so this is a compromise settlement. And again, I think this was in the best interest of the town to move forward. And, that is somewhat the issue. And we hope to get it behind us as far as possible. And as you're saying, let's focus on all of the growth and the good things that are about to come to the town of Mason. Obviously the Blue Over Project, I just spoke to some people yesterday. This is almost a $6 billion project. Thousands of jobs are coming to town. There's going to be great opportunity for not only Mason, but for all of West Tennessee. And I just think we need to get ready to take advantage of this opportunity. I know that the vice mayor one time mentioned that even the young people in Mason have to go outside of the town of Mason to go to school. Mason doesn't even have a school. And so, coming from Memphis, where we have a school on every corner, I just couldn't imagine, having to go to a whole nother city or town for education. And so now here's an opportunity for Mason to have his own school system, and they'll need a school board. So, there's going to be great opportunities, I think, coming to Mason. And the PIO came on from the comptroller's office to give his position. That is what it is. We're through litigating. I think this was a victory for the town of Mason. It's time to move forward. And I think that the comptroller should recognize that, in order to really, benefit this town, they need to do it in a spirit of cooperation and not in a spirit of what they were attempting to do at the beginning. If we really want to help the town of Mason, help them with the needs that they have to promote this town, like Nashville is promoted. Let's promote Mason. Like other small rural towns in East Tennessee are promoted. Let's promote West Tennessee. We want the same thing that they're receiving in Middle and East Tennessee to occur in West Tennessee. And we don't need to be asking small towns to give up their charters. What we need to be doing is seeing how we can benefit and help them. For instance, the county pulled back the fire fees it used to give Mason, and that left a deficit in the budget for the town. So we need the cooperation of the county and the state to make this a successful venture, and we're hopeful that we can get the litigation behind us, and we can get that type of cooperation from the state and from the comptroller's office moving forward.
Absolutely.
Here's John again. John, do you want to jump on? Because we would have invited you, but typically you guys don't really work with us. I don't know if y'all can see that on y'all screen.
Yeah.
Somebody said John Dunn is back.
Yeah.
Well, John, that gives me great hope knowing that you guys are here to help Mason. As Attorney Turner stated, the litigation has been done. The settlement has already happened. Now is the time to figure out what we're going to do moving forward. And the state can't continue to try and find ways to discredit the leadership in Mason and help them at the same time. Either you're going to help or you're going to continue to try to be divisive to separate state from county and, do this whole oversight thing. We saw what happened. You talk about Nashville, Attorney Turner, and I mean, I can tell you, being in Nashville, you don't recognize Nashville. The house I'm sitting in right now used to be abandoned, and the houses across the street from me are going for $400,000 and $500,000. And our people who built up Nashville, people who built up this city, can no longer afford to live here. They work here, but they cannot afford to live here, and that we do not need to see that happen in West Tennessee, because that is where the majority of our Black people are, and we cannot allow the gentrification and the displacement that happened in Middle and is happening in East Tennessee to happen in West Tennessee. And this is a great opportunity. And what happened in Mason, Tennessee is a prime example of how we can stick together and come together in agreement with some sort of corrective action. Virginia, I do have another question. Is this, have you all had any conversations with John Dunn? Like, is this the first time you guys hearing from him? Is this the most you've heard? Like, have they been reaching out over the tenure of your leadership, or is this just new?
No. This is the most I've heard from John Dunn when he got on here to make the statement. But my thing is this: I'm not concerned about what has been or what was. I'm starting here, because if you're gonna hold on to the past, you can never go forward. So whatever happened before now, it has happened. Our job is to try to correct it and move forward. So if the comptrollers, as much as they're trying to make the people think that they are on our side, they really not, because the statements he made should have been statements that, oh, we coming in, we're gonna do this to help you. You are not helping us. So let's let go of the past and try to go forward. I just want to work from here going forward. I can't change yesterday. Yesterday is just what it was yesterday. Let's start today and see what we can do with today and tomorrow if the Lord let us see it. So that's my take on it. I'm not concerned about that. I let them have that. I'm just trying to move forward. It's time for Mason to move forward. They didn't get their way, and we're going to try to make sure they don't get their way. That's my whole goal going forward.
Mr. Dunn is back with more statements, and he says that our Division of Local Government Finance has contact with the town and its financial team. I'm the comptroller spokesperson. I'm here to represent our office in this public forum. John, would you like to jump on the call? We would welcome you. We would put your email address in, and we will send you a link to jump on the call if you would like. I'm pretty sure you have seen the advertisements for several things that have been happening in the state, in the city of Mason. And this is my first time hearing about a John Donne. So we would have welcomed you, and we welcome you and your collaboration going further in the future if that's something that you guys are open to. But let's be honest. I mean, we have had run-ins with every division in the state, and the state has not been so likely or so open to working with local leadership, even in bigger cities where we provide a huge portion of the state's revenue, like Nashville. We can't get our state leaders, individual department leaders, to work in collaboration with us. There is this crazy oversight that the state has, where they are quick to preempt and jump in and try to control what happens in the city, which overthrows city leadership. So John has just said that he wants to hop. What a pass number. I don't know what that is. John says that he wants to hop on this live stream. He will be elated to. So I don't know where we are in terms of the legal side of it, but I will leave that to you guys. If you want John on, John, we can let you on. I'm leaving it up to Mr. Turner from the NAACP and Ms. Rivers. John said he wants all the smoke.
I have no problem.
Okay.
Whatever our attorney says is fine with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's fine if he wants to join us. Again, if we're talking about moving things forward, that's fine. If we're talking about, trying to pass blame on Vice Mayor Rivers and Mayor Gooden and fault them for issues that were out of their control and that preceded them, then we just gonna keep going back and forth. So I'm fine with him joining.
Monica said, "Come on, John." Okay, so our producer is working to get John on the call. But in the meantime, I do want to give an opportunity for Van, for you to, let's talk about, is there anything else that is happening in West Tennessee as a whole that we need to be focused on as an entire state? Because I tell people, when you elect your city leadership and when you elect your leadership at the state level, when representatives and senators from Nashville go to the General Assembly and pass a vote, they vote on behalf of the entire state. The vote that they vote impacts West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and East. So it's important that in the process of organizing and advocating, that we advocate from a statewide lens, because we see a lot of the stuff that happens when we don't.
Yeah, I think we know all the issues. There's a voucher bill that just passed, which will take proceeds from our public schools and send those to our private schools, and that's only in Nashville and Memphis, which is just I think just crazy. But we're gonna have to fight against that. There's like an assault against public education, and that's where our young people have to get the most help. And it seems like there's an assault to undermine, public education in this state. Now that's currently being litigated, and I would imagine that it will continue to be litigated. And also just things such as a woman's right to choose. Tennessee has, we're high up on the list of bad laws when it comes to that issue. And if the Supreme Court is to do what it seems like they're going to do, then Tennessee is a trigger law state, which would ban, a woman's right to choose here in this state. And so, these are things that we have to fight against and resist as well. And unfortunately, we don't have a state general assembly attuned to really the greater needs of, I think, the broad community here in Tennessee. So there's a lot of work to be done. But we can't give up. The thing that I love about us as a people is that we're very resilient, and that our ancestors and forefathers face much greater challenges that we have now. I mean, here we are sitting in air conditioned on laptops and able to speak and able to do things that our great grandmothers and grandfathers could only have dreamed of. If you're like most African Americans here in the South, your family out after slavery, you had sharecropping. My mother's family's out of Mississippi, so they still had to bear the brunt of all of those things and issues they had to deal with. So, although we have challenges before us, these are challenges that can be overcome if we stay united and we just keep doing it, and we keep teaching our young people that this is something that we have to pass on to them, that they can't get comfortable and can't think things are okay, and can't believe that things are going as well as they should be, because there's still some challenges that they're going to have to face, and we have to prepare them and equip them with the tools that they need to face those challenges. Every generation has to overcome something. The 60s and the 70s, those folks had to overcome Jim Crow. So we're having to overcome this critical race theory BS and all these other issues that are coming back at us. I think they're going to try to go after affirmative action and some of the things that really assisted me in going through law school and able, my ability to be a lawyer now. I was assisted with these kinds of programs. So, there's a different fight for each generation. We have to prepare the people coming behind us to be ready for those challenges, and we have to continue to meet the challenges that we're facing today.
Okie dokie. Well, John Dunn is on the call. John, the PIO for the Comptroller's Office of Tennessee, is on the call. If we can get him added in, let's hear from Mr. John.
Good afternoon.
Hey, John. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Vice Mayor, Mr.
How
Turner.
are you?
Good to see you both. I'm doing well. I've been listening to the conversation, or at least part of it anyway, when I saw it come across my Twitter timeline. And as I was listening, I felt it was important to add a couple of thoughts from our office's perspective. Glad to join you all. I've heard Mr. Turner's comments, and I just want to say how much I agree with him that our office is certainly ready to move forward in a positive direction with the town of Mason. And we've had a good working relationship over the past couple of weeks as we've kind of moved past the lawsuit part of this situation, and been working well with their team there in Mason, as well as their certified public accountant that they brought in to help. So we're looking forward to having Mason really move forward successfully.
Well, that is great, because we're going to be watching you and your boss to make sure that you guys are doing right by the people in Mason and in Tennessee. So thank you, John, for that comment. It makes me feel hopeful that you guys aren't going to attempt another hostile takeover via the mail. We appreciate that. But John, I do have one question. Is it true that y'all have no Black auditors in the comptroller's office?
That's not true. It's not true.
I saw a message from someone that said they worked there and were displeased, and that there were no Black auditors in the comptroller's office. So I wanted to hear from you if that was true.
It's just not
Do
true.
you guys have? So what is the representation in your office from West Tennessee? Are there people in the comptroller's office that come from West Tennessee that understand the culture, the dynamics, and how West Tennessee operates, or is it just hodgepodge?
Yeah, we have an office in Memphis and an office in Jackson. and do obviously employ many people from West Tennessee who work out of those offices.
Right. It's great to hear that from the horse's mouth, because that was something that I was wondering about. Miss Virginia and Van, is there anything that we should potentially talk to John about since we have him on the call? He said that they're definitely trying to move forward with what you and Miss Virginia stated, putting the past behind us, working together. John, is there anything that we should be expecting as the public? Are y'all planning something? Like, is there anything going on? You got something up your sleeve? Let us know now.
Well, no, I'll just say that we have a clear plan working with Mason that both our office and the town have agreed to, and the plan has some clear benchmarks in it. Of course, they have about 4 years to repay that water and sewer balance. They can pay it before 4 years if they choose to, if they'd like. That'd be great. In fact, we welcome any effort to fundraising effort or whatever might be out there to support Mason. We hope those things succeed so that Mason can move forward even faster. Mason has some significant challenges ahead of itself, and we want them to be prepared to respond to those, most particularly some of the improvements and environmental issues that need to be addressed within their utility system. And I would just say that we're very hopeful that the town can find the way to pass a balanced budget, get its audit report in, and pay back those water and sewer balances, and then we'll be ready to move forward with Mason, hopefully very successfully.
Well, we are planning to move forward. Matter of fact, Mason's going to move forward. And we are going to pay back the balances of the debt that was owed. And we are going to get our budget in. We're working toward that. And hopefully we will be free to do as we need to do as a town come August.
Yeah, I think going forward, it would be important to not just, look at the compliance issue. I think that will take care of itself very appropriately, given the, added time to repay itself back or to repay the funds back to the water sewer. But, if you look at, I'm a city commissioner in Shelby County. So we get briefings and all of that from, the Blue Oval project. And I was just looking at a briefing the other day, and we see how the sewer line is leaving Blue Oval. It goes to Mason first, and it goes north to Covington and comes across, and it pours out at the Mississippi River. So the lagoon that Mason has within its town is going to be key in taking the bad water out, putting the good water in. That's key for the Blue Oval project, and it's key for all of the surrounding development in that area. And so any type of expansion of that lagoon or expansion of the ability of Mason to treat the water, I think would be critical. And if there are infrastructure dollars, if there are funds that the state could assist with, I think that's something that we need to look at as far as really taking advantage of this opportunity. This is a great opportunity for Mason, but it's a great opportunity for Tennessee. And we want to make sure that, the Blue Oval project is a success for many reasons. And I think we do that by, assisting the town of Mason in expanding its capacity to treat the water, expanding the lagoon, and maybe trying to, if the comptroller's office, along with the finance team of the state, could assist in bringing those resources and dollars into Mason, that would be good. And joining with the town of Mason and going after DOT dollars and federal dollars with the Department of Transportation, I think that would be key as well. So there are millions of dollars that are out there that could be used to expand the capacity of Mason to really support the development of the Blue Oval project. And I think that's where the town and the comptroller's office and the state could work together on, and we could really, again, take advantage of this opportunity that's before Mason. And as I stated, Mr. Dunn, the town of Mason has to send its young people out for them to get educated. So here's an opportunity for the state to assist the town in developing its own ability to educate the young people within that town, to build out infrastructure, sidewalks, street lights, restaurants, businesses, affordable homes. This is an opportunity to really build a community out. And we would need the collaboration of the comptroller's office in the state to do it. And it seems that the state is willing to do so. We would just ask for your assistance in that.
Well, I'll just add, Mr. Turner. Of course, we're the comptroller's office. We're the auditors and the financial regulators, and not so much the grantees or grantors of money. However, what I do know about Mason is that Mason is eligible for just about every grant under the sun because of its demographics and its socioeconomic status. What I can say is that Mason has suffered from its ability to earn grant money because it's not been able to have its audits completed, and which are prerequisites essentially for getting state revolving fund money or community development block grants. Some of the funding that could come from transportation grants, et cetera, police grants, fire grants, all the grants that are out there. So that hallmark of getting that audit, last year's audit, finished will be an important step. And hopefully moving forward, Mason is able to complete its audits every year on time so that it can be in a position to reap the rewards, hopefully, of every grant dollar that's available. And certainly to the extent that our office can help assist with that, we will be helping.
Well, I'm glad to hear
Mr.
you
Dunn.
say you will be assisting with that because the auditors helped out 2020 for over a year. We just received it this week. So maybe you can help with that. Maybe you can help put some fire under the audit ATA and help them because they have our 2021. They are actually been the holdup. It wasn't that the audit wasn't in. 2020 been in there. It was in there for over a year. They just didn't give it back to us or take the time to do it. So the 2021 is there. So we're waiting on them. And from my understanding, they don't know when they'll be able to get to that. So, Mr. Dunn, can you put some fire under them? You said you're willing to help. You are from the comptroller's office. Of course, y'all work together. I'm just wondering, can you talk to them on our 2021 and make sure they go ahead and get it done?
Certainly, and we have had conversations with the town's auditor. The town pays for its audit and enters into a contract with an auditor to perform that audit. I'd heard talk, Vice Mayor, I'm not certain where this stands, that the town may have been looking for a new auditor to complete its fiscal year 2020-21 audit. So I'm not sure if you're still using ATA for the 21 audit or not. But we have had conversations with the auditor and that audit firm to encourage them, to stress to them how important it is to complete that audit work. Of course, an audit takes time. It can't be something that's done in overnight or in a matter of weeks even. It does take a significant amount of time to complete an audit. And certainly with ATA, the town's auditor, or has been the auditor at least for the last several years, we have had conversations certainly encouraging them to speed up the process, as it were.
Well, they have our 2021. They have the ATA has the 2021 audit. It's there. And as I stated, they must have didn't listen because they helped out 2020 for over a year. So we don't need them to hold out 2021. We understand that it takes time. We do understand that. But we are in a position where we need them to do their job. We need them to go ahead and get it done so we can move forward. They have been our holdup. And
Absolutely.
They are the ones who say that the stuff wasn't there, but it was there. They just never did it.
Well, again, I'm not party to the conversations between the town and its auditor, but we have encouraged the auditor to act fast. They know that there's a timetable here that everyone's dealing with.
Well, hopefully they will listen, and thank you for speaking to them.
Mr. John, so is this how the state comptroller's office typically works? I know that there are several towns that have been in the past, as Mr. Turner stated in his litigation, and that probably currently are in some sort of debt or monies owed to either the town or the state. Is it typical for the state to come in and say, we're taking over your charter? Also, at what point did the state realize that they needed to step in because Mason was in financial crises or behind on his finances?
Tequila, I'm glad to talk about all of those things with you. It will, to a certain extent, be getting into the past, which I'm not sure that we want to do on this conversation. But to the extent that you would like to talk about those things, I'm willing to talk about those things.
Well, we don't want to. I don't want to go into numbers. I'm just wondering, like, is this a normal thing? Like, is this what you do it with every city? You.
Sure. Let me answer that question. I think that's a fair question. So the primary concern with Mason, and those who've been listening to this for a little while may have figured that out, is that the town was using money from its water and sewer fund to support its general government operations. And in Tennessee, those are to be kept separate. Water and sewer money stays in that fund to support water and sewer operations. General government dollars support general government purposes. So when a town starts to use money from its water and sewer fund for general government purposes, if it's not able to repay those funds within the current fiscal year, it's something that's illegal in the state of Tennessee. It's called interfund borrowing, and it's a practice that's not allowed by state law. So our office, we put towns that do that, or counties that do that, have county utilities on what's called a corrective action plan to encourage them to repay those dollars that they owe to their utility funds. And in Mason's situation, we had a corrective action plan with them in 2013, back when the balances were below $100,000. And it was a 5-year plan. There in about December of 2015, we recognized that the town was not following its plan. So we instituted a new 5-year corrective action plan in 2015. And then we got more audits from the town kind of in 2019 and 2020. They gave us some more audit numbers, which showed that the balances, while the town had been starting to repay it, they were still borrowing more money from their water and sewer funds. And the balances had actually grown substantially between 2016, 2019, thereabouts. In 2020, we put them on a new 5-year plan in 2021. That again wasn't working. The prison closed in September of 2021, causing a huge financial hardship for the town, which I think they're only now beginning to feel through its utility revenues. And that is what prompted what became really a fourth corrective action plan here in 2022 to get the town on track. The corrective action plan is the normal course of business for our office for towns that borrow from their utility funds. And most of the time they work. It's great. I mean, there are 5-year plans typically, and they're followed. But in Mason's circumstance, there were several plans, and unfortunately, they were not having the effect of improving the borrowing. The debt still existed, and it still exists today, obviously.
Mr. John, you made mention of the 5-year plan. What happened when Mason sent in a 5-year plan back in 2021 that you all never even responded to? When we heard from you guys, you never said anything or even gave a comment about the 5-year plan that was sent to you on behalf of Mason. So when we heard from you or from your team is when Manpower came in to take over our town. So tell me why you didn't respond to the 5-year plan that the town of Mason sent you. I'm thinking it was in either November or December, but it was in the last year before that even came about. You guys never even responded.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I actually shared my computer screen, which is our response to the town in January of 2021, accepting the town's corrective action plan. I'm not sure if it's able to be shown on what we're seeing right here, but we did, in fact, accept the town's corrective action plan in January of 2021. Sent a letter to the Mayor Gooden and the board accepting that plan.
So
yes.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll just say that we did. I mean, that there was a new plan that was put into effect in January of 2021.
Okay, if you accepted the plan that you say you accepted, which I never saw the letter, so if you are saying that, then you accepted the plan, but you didn't give the town the opportunity to fulfill the plan without coming in and wanting to take over. So you want us to believe that because the prison left or the prison closed down, that was ground for you to come in and do what you guys did, because all that happened within that time frame. So I'm trying to understand what justified you all to say that's you made that statement a few minutes ago. What justified you all to come in and felt that you needed to come in just because the prison uh, no longer had retainees there. So with that being said, we still still get taxes from them. We still get waterways from them, just not as much as it was because they're no longer inmates there. But I'm just trying to figure out, how do you justify that, saying that was the reason for you to come in, and then you say uh, because we were borrowing water from the waterway system. We never denied that, but the reason it was done is because the town had never ever recovered from the past. So how can you expect us to start right there when it was messed up from the beginning? Um, you can't you can't come in and take a few months and try to justify, because a business leave out of a town, and justify that was the right for you to come in and say, hey, y'all give up your charter. You can't justify that to me, because there's no justification in that. Because first of all, I feel that if you were going to come in, which it wasn't you but your team, Manpower, if you guys were going to come in and do what you did, you should have come in and offered help with the finances. That was not what you did. You said, and I quote, Manpower said, you got to give up your charter, or then if we didn't, they're going to come in and take over. So there's no justification. I don't care how you look at it or how you try to sum it up. I know 1 and 1 is 2, and that's not adding up.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor. Was there a specific question that you wanted me to respond to? I apologize.
Well, the question was, how can you justify what y'all did? It can't be from the fact that the prison closed, but justified y'all by coming in from the beginning and said, give up your charter.
All right.
If you were planning to help us anyway.
Let me try to answer from our perspective. And again, I do want to stress that we're moving forward very positively, but I will because I'm sure there's curiosity about what the situation is that led up to all these facts. In January 2021, we put in a new corrective action plan with the town, which included several benchmarks, including getting its audit in on time, or getting its audit to us for 2020 by March, other factors such as that, making payments to its water and sewer fund, such and such. We visited the town in June of 2020. I'm not sure if the vice mayor was there or not, but we had staff from the comptroller's office come and visit the town in June, where our office was told that the balance had actually been fully repaid. The water and sewer balance had been fully repaid, not a dime was owed. And we felt great about that. We were really hopeful that that was the correct position of the town, that it was accurate. We came to learn in November that in fact the balance, November of 2021, that in fact the balance had not been repaid. And when you coupled that, and in fact it was still several $100,000. And when you couple that with the prison closure in September of 2021, and the understanding that new infrastructure investment would be needed to support potential growth in the area, what was financial distress looked to be financial crisis, simply because of the fact that the town, which The prison, by the way, is exempt from property taxes. The town doesn't receive property tax revenue from the prison. It receives utility revenue, and then, of course, the benefit, hopefully, of any sales tax revenue generated by prison staff who may dine in the town or shop in the town. But taken all together, those factors, the prison closure, the fact that the water and sewer balance had significant balances owed, and the corrective action plan that wasn't being followed, we did come to the town in fiscal year, or this past February, and the comptroller looked at the situation and said, quite honestly, Mason, the way I see it, you have two choices. Either A, you can choose not to be a government anymore, just decide not to do this, give up your charter, which is a decision that is totally up to the town. It's never something that the comptroller's office could take a charter. Or we're going to have to come in and really enhance our supervision over the town's finances. Those were the two options that we saw at the time. And of course, we've ended up with that second option of enhancing supervision, really on the fourth corrective action plan with the town moving forward.
All righty. Well, we are getting close to time. John, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you jumping on to represent the comptroller's office, and we hope that going forward, your office will do everything in its power to make sure that the leadership remains in the hands of Mason, Tennessee residents, especially considering now they will be able to get some sales tax revenue, right, as this town grows and as hopefully infrastructure continues to develop and grow because of the Blue Oval Project. So again, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate the conversation and you being just very positive on this call. Great. Attorney Van Turner from the NAACP, thank you so much from everybody here at the Equity Alliance and the Tennessee Holler for everything that you do to bring awareness to everything that's happening in West Tennessee and really across the state. You are really involved in things all across the state, and we appreciate you for that, Van. Mrs. Virginia, again, I want you to know that we appreciate you and your leadership. We support you, and if there is anything that we can do to help uplift you and provide any additional assistance to the town of Mason, we are just a phone call away. Thanks everybody for hopping on. If you are watching, please, if you have not followed the Holler, the Tennessee Holler is up at the State General Assembly, letting everybody know what's going on, as well as giving organizations like the Equity Alliance the opportunity to stream and make sure that everyone knows. In the comments, thank you everybody for joining. If you have any additional questions or concern, please feel free to hit us up. Either you can hit up the Holler or hit us up at the Equity Alliance. We are going to jump off now because there is just a lot going on. But before we leave, I do want to let everyone know, including you, John, Don, and Van. John, we would love for the State Comptroller's Office to support the Equity Alliance in our efforts to continue to make sure that all Tennesseans are civically engaged and know what's happening in government, right? We have our Juneteenth celebration coming up on June 18th. Take it over, June.
So Black on Buchanan is happening June 18th. It's bigger, blacker than ever. We're taking Black the block. So we're going to be on Buchanan, the historic Buchanan Street, along the historic Buchanan Street in North Nashville. So it's going to be a lot of fun that day. AC Noel is hosting our event that day. Brian Brown is performing. Sinee is going to open up the event with the Black National Anthem, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of other things. We're partnering with the Nashville Black Market to do the vendor village. We'll also have some community partners there for y'all to stop and everything and get some resources from. But one of the biggest things that we're really excited about is this year we're going to do the inaugural Black on Buchanan Art and Craft Festival. So we're partnering with Inca Gallery. Inca Gallery, that is the Black gallery that's on Buchanan Street. So we're partnering with Inca Gallery and also with the Tennessee Craft to make sure that Black art is put on a pedestal and exalted that day. So if you have any artist friends that do ceramics, photography, painters, whatever it is, visual artists, we're calling you. Come on, fill out the application, head over to www.theequityalliance.org/Juneteenth to find all of the information there. Register. Also, I'll let Tequila talk to you about a little bit, then I'm probably jump in, about the Black Women's Empowerment Weekend that we have coming up on July 9th and 10th at the National Fairgrounds.
Yes, so we have our
Third
third
annual.
annual Black Women's Empowerment Brunch. But this year it is going to be a weekend. Yes, we are looking for sponsors, and yes, we will take a sponsorship from the comptroller's office, considering all the money y'all rolling in. John and Stacey. Yes, it's going to be an amazing time. And people keep asking, is it just for Black people? No, just because it says Black don't mean it's just for Black people.
Mhm.
But we are creating an opportunity for Black people to be our Black excellence, to be put on a stage for the world to admire and witness. So we welcome everybody, white, red, purple, or green, Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, and independents in between, to come and celebrate Black girl magic and Black excellence on July 9th and 10th at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Please go to the Equity Alliance website at theequityalliance.org/women if you want to go there. But everything, our website is very intuitive. All of the information is there. And for our West Tennessee people, shout out to Danny Glover, who is down there now running the Equity Alliance Memphis chapter. We are hiring y'all in West Tennessee full time. So if you are tuning in from Memphis, from Mason, from Humboldt, from McLemoresville, all the small towns, and you are looking for a job, you want to go out and organize and talk to people, hit up the Equity Alliance, go to the place that says jobs, and put in your application. Hit us up. We're looking for more people on the ground in Memphis and in rural Tennessee. Would love to have somebody from Mason, Miss Virginia. So if you know of any young folk or old folk that are looking to get involved and want to go and talk, hit us up. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Y'all stay tuned for everything else, as we have some amazing things that are going to happen throughout the year. This year, the year is just getting started for us. Make sure the voter registration deadline for the upcoming election is July 5th. So make sure, if you are not registered to vote, make sure you register to vote. If you've moved, even if you've moved within your city, make sure you update your voter registration card, because your polling location may be different and all of that. So make sure that you are registered to vote, you're updated, and all that.
All righty, y'all. So I will see y'all at Juneteenth, the Juneteenth celebration, a celebration of Black excellence and Black liberation. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been Porch Politics, powered by the Equity Alliance, a Tennessee Holla Live show. Peace.